Hey guys. Whew. I am sorry. I am late. I am way late. What time is it? 9:23. Man alive. It has been a crazy day. I apologize. I hope all of you guys are well. Um uh totally it's been a kind of one of those days. Um I I've been at a conference the entire day for work, and I had to drive back from Columbus, and I had 2 podcast recordings tonight. And so, yeah, that has caused craziness in my schedule. And so I had to push back to 9, and it took a little longer for the second recording. So I apologize, guys. But let's get into it. Welcome to Tuesday at Two Lines. I don't know what we've got to talk about. I'm sure. Man, my place is a mess. This is a disaster. Cables everywhere. Stuff all over. I didn't know scratch building was going to be so messy. I've got stuff everywhere from scratch building. So, what's going on in the chat? What am I missing? So, I got stuff in the way. I can't get to my computer. I can't type. So, who all is in the chat? Let's take a look. The Fingers, Gary, DNA, Flavor Art Race Team, TNT, hey Tim, Slot Car Daddy. You don't have to shave for us. I appreciate that. Sorry guys. I feel a little scattered. Just a crazy schedule. I'm recording another podcast tomorrow night for my other project, and it's just chaos. So anyway, Michael Squire, welcome. Hey Greg, good to have you. Who else is in? The Fingers, I think I already said. Say hi John. Tim, Hipster Hat. I don't know. I haven't. Hey, grandson of man. Hey, Pat. Let's see. Mr. Albright. DNA Slot Cars. What flavor? Oh, you guys are talking about bourbon. Is my brother in there? Hey, Frankie. Sorry I'm late. Curvy Marty is doing our shots. You won't catch Marty doing shots. Marty is not. Marty. I drink coffee. That's about as crazy as I get. Marty's going to have a very long chat to catch up on. Yeah, you're right. Hey, Scott. Good to have you. Hey, Greg. They said we're here for the chat. That's exactly right. I had a conversation the other day with somebody, and they were talking about the chat that goes on before the live stream, and they were joking and said, I don't think anybody pays attention to what you say, Marty. I think everybody is there for the chat. And I told him, I said that's the beauty of the community of this slot car community. I'm just providing a space for everybody to gather on Tuesdays. And we heard Raul last night. I had my last life group at church last night, so I will be back for the rest of the Monday sessions with Raul and George and Danny and Shotgun Dave and whoever else jumps in on those. So it'll be good to be back there on Monday nights. But it sounds like that's going to end at the end of the year. And, Raul set out goals, and that's what his goal was, to do that live stream for a year. I'll be curious to see if he misses it. But we will have Tuesday. George is always live streaming. And then you've got Pete, and there's a handful of others that live stream. So we'll be okay. But who knows? Maybe somebody will take over that space on Monday and continue to provide a great place for the community to gather. So Scott, who else? Dusty is in house. It will be an hour before he gets caught up. Nope. Hey, George. Hey, Jeff G. Yeah, my bad. Tim, I know. I'm so late. It's Thursday. Hey, Clint. Yeah, I appreciate. Thanks for the invite to your chat. Hey, Richard. Good morning. Gary. Hey, Daryl. Welcome. So, anyways, let's get into it. I don't know if anybody got to watch George's live stream today, but he was at Kevin's place at Racetrack Scenics testing out his new track setup. I know that's an experimental setup, but I was very excited about that. I think that there's a lot of potential for Kevin to simplify wood-routed tracks. I think wood-routed tracks are kind of intimidating for people, especially if you have zero woodworking experience. And this might be one of those things that you could jump in and, and do. And that's exciting. So it's really good. Yeah, Michael's scratch building is super messy. Yeah, I've got crap piled up everywhere. But I'll share with you. I have been scratch building. I've done my first chassis, and now I'm working on the body, and I'm following some of George's videos, and I'm thankful that those are out there because they really, really help. You've been as quiet as mice. Of course, that's what I love about it. Solve all the problems. Hey, Steve. Hope you're well. And Neil. It is me. Hey, Dave Patterson. Johnny Pro, let's do this. That's right. Shotgun Dave. Hey, the gang is all here. I see Dusty said something about Sean. Sean is in. Welcome, Sean. Good to have you. Hey, Barry. The Barry Racing Club is in. Vin is here. Oh, Vin's got the NSR C7 Jägermeister arriving tomorrow. Nice. That is a good-looking car. Man, that's a good-looking car. There is no way I could hack Jägermeister, but as a livery, it is a great livery. I really like it. Hey, BRC. Who else did I miss? How was the Cloverleaf event? Yeah, those guys did a great job. The local guys to me that went to Cloverleaf, I'm super proud of them. You called me out, Pat. Marty, you give us a safe place. That's right. I try. Hey, Moondoggy. Hey, Chris. Good to have you. Let's see. I watched it sitting in my blind. George. Yeah, it was a fun live stream. It was really cool to see that track in action. Doing some really good things. Yeah. So just so you guys know, Mark Phillips, welcome. Good to have you from New Zealand. I am caught up with the chat, so now I can feel like I can actually jump in and talk about some things. So we talked about the racetrack. Yeah, I thought it was great. I think Kevin at Racetrack Scenics, he has so many products. I sometimes feel like I'm nervous for him that he's spreading himself out too thin from a product standpoint, that he's trying to produce so many things. But he just loves what he's doing, and so they're designing some great stuff. It's really exciting to see. But this track, I really think it has some potential. I would love to mess around with it. So maybe it'll have to be a trip to North Carolina to go run some laps on it. But we're just really curious to see how easy it is to put together, how well, the braid. Like, I totally understand it building a track now. And I've completely rewired this to be able to use analog controllers and things like that. So it, I think from that standpoint, I wouldn't have any issues or problems. But for somebody who's intimidated by routing a track and getting the lanes routed cleanly and designed well, this kind of takes that out of the equation for you. You basically would just, order the pieces, parts, and my guess is there's more coming. I would say that this is the test oval, but they'll have other pieces that add some wiggles, some S turns, which you guys know. As Slot R says, it's not a Marty Ford layout. It's not a 2 lines layout with some S turns in it. I don't know if anybody watched any of my videos, but I've been trying to put some footage of this layout in some of my past couple of videos and really get to see how fun, even though it's only, just shy of 60 feet, the lane length, this layout is a blast with 4 cars running, or even 3 cars running, 2 cars running. It doesn't really matter. But you get a few people on the track, and it is a lot of fun. It has a little bit of everything. You've got the S turns. You've got a couple kinks that are kind of tough. You've got a long straight, so you can really open up the car. So playing with gearing has been interesting because you kind of need to be good at everything on this layout. So yeah, we're really enjoying it, and so I'm hoping that you have enjoyed some of the video. I've put some of it out on YouTube. As a couple of shorts. I have posted a few videos out there on Instagram as stories and reels. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, go out and find 2 Line Slot Cars on Instagram, and you can see some footage from racing on this. And I've got some more. We raced on Sunday night. It was more of a test and tune. So I took some footage of what cars were we running? We were running some Group 2 Revo slots. We were running regular Revo slots. What else did we run? We ran quite a few things. So I got some other footage. So we'll end up doing that. Some more footage. So I'll post some more videos out there if that's what you guys want to see. Shark Tank says not too many SKUs. Yeah, Moondoggy, I could see that. I do worry about him having such a large catalog. But he seems to have it under control, and he's got that nice big facility now. I just hope they get to have some fun. Yes, they said that they will have more pieces in the future. It's modular. That's cool, Michael. I kind of thought that was the case. I didn't get to catch all of it. I was at a conference all day, and it was I got the notice that it started, and I was in a session at lunch in a session, and there was like a keynote speaker, and it was a little dry, and so I popped up the live stream and was trying to watch a little bit from my table. So yeah. Fully capable of building my own, but a modular wood track system is what the hobby needs. Yeah, John, I think you're right. I think that just from a simplicity's sake, I have some ideas about a wood routed track. And when Kevin told me that they were putting something together on the live stream when he was on the live stream months ago, I got pretty excited about that because ultimately, I'd really like to do a wood track down the road, especially if we get another space. If we find some space to maybe build a club, start a club, it would be fun to have a plastic track and a wood track. So I think at some point I will build a wood track. But having a modular wood track just could simplify for a lot of people and make it very easy for them to jump into a wood routed track. Now, we know racing on plastic versus racing on wood, it is a different experience from a tuning standpoint. and a slot car experience. I think they're different. They're both great. I really enjoy them. But the plastic just has so many conveniences, but they're just smooth wood layout. Man, it's a lot of fun. So what else? We have rally track next, then a 2-lane road course is what he will be planning. That's awesome, George. Thanks for sharing. It's really cool. Hey, Tad. Good to have you. Sorry I'm so late tonight. Thanks for jumping in. I have no expectations of a ton of people in tonight because it's started so late, but I really appreciate you guys that have stuck around and waited it out. So, but yeah, a modular track would be great. So I'm really intrigued, and I've talked about this before, the CNC design track. There's a company out of Detroit that does them, and they're fully custom. They design them based on your space. They do varying lane spacing, which Kevin has done here with that center lane of the 3 lanes. It kind of moves in and out and competes with the inside lane and the outside lane at different turns. But what they do with the CNC stuff is really, really cool. But it's super expensive. I'm not saying it's not worth it. I don't know anything about it. And if those guys are watching this, if you want to get a hold of me, I would love to partner with you and work on something. I think it would be fun. But I really think that if they came out with some basic designs, so if they said, okay, here's a layout that is 6 foot wide by 16 feet long, and then here's an 8 foot wide by 24 feet long, and here is a 10 foot wide by 30 feet long, or whatever, and just have some base models that fit in square spaces, and they were reasonably priced, I think that they could really do well. They might really do well now. I don't know. It's hard to tell. But the only YouTube videos that I can find that have anything to do with those tracks are the 2 videos that they've posted themselves, like talking about designing the tracks. And so, like, it would be great to have somebody actually out there building it, like what Kevin's, like with George, and on his live stream today was fantastic. And so I think that some of those companies that do some of those things, working with somebody who has a channel that might be able to really help them promote the track and see how easy it is to build, and have kind of an outside look at it I think would be healthy and good. You should sell the track corner names for supporters of your local charity. Flavor Art, that is brilliant. So the S-turns are the Frankie Tomato Memorial S-turns. Now, he hasn't passed, but all of the turns are memorial turns. So our buddy Rob Snyder, we eliminated the Rob Snyder Memorial turn, and he's probably pretty happy with that. But that's actually that's actually great. Hey Travis, yeah, it is a great layout. I thought it was fun to watch cars going around it. I probably never do a permanent track. It gets old even with different cars. Pat, that's I mean, you've watched my channel long enough to know that in the last year I've made like 3 major changes to my layout. And that's the beauty of plastic track. It will always have that advantage. If you get tired of it, you can pack it up really easy and sell it if you need to. There's a lot of advantages. So I get it, but yeah, I thought it was a great layout too, Travis. Let's see what else we have. The Group 2 Riva slot run excellent on your track. They do, John. They are a blast. This is like the perfect setup for those cars. You've got the straight. They really stretch out on, and they're about top speed, about halfway down. We could probably mess with the gearing and get them faster, but I don't know that there's any reason to. Part of the beauty of those Group 2, the RevoSlot Group 2s on this track is the racing is so close. And the video that I posted, the short, like at any given time, Daryl or myself or Dusty were in the lead. And all of us were in the lead at one point in almost every lap. And then through the S's and where the timer is, where the camera was is where my timer is. It's where the webcam is shining down on the track. And like it just, each lap was a different person leading, and they're so close. So I don't know that I'd want to change them. I would want to keep them kind of as a spec class, I think. Everybody running the 9-tooth pinion, run the same gearing, the stock motors, just put, do what adjusting you can and just run them like they came out of the box. Do what you can with the tires and go. So I think that's the beauty of those cars. It'll be a lot of fun. I did like Slot R, his video this past weekend, taking the chicanes and making those pit entries and exits. That potentially, so that's the biggest problem we have with running digital on this track with no magnet cars. And even with magnet cars, if you don't slow down getting into the pit, like there are lots of crashes going into the pits. And so his video is fantastic, converting the chicane into a pit entry. I'm probably going to do that down the road. I think it was great. Way to go, Dave. I appreciate it. I think there'll be lots of people doing it. I think it would be great if Carrera would just allow you to be able to program from the CU that as a pit lane so that you didn't have to change any electronics. But I'm not sure that they can. So anyway, yes, John, Group 2 RevoSlots, excellent on your track. I would love to chip them and run them digital. I think it would be a blast. And the reason why I'm mentioning digital, I'll jump into that in a minute. But Richard, if someone can make and produce a routed wooden track in modular form at a decent price, it could be a game changer because it could be a very popular option instead of buying a plastic track. Richard, I agree. I think Kevin is onto something. I think there are some other wood routed options out there. I know that there is the MR tracks. Travis, you might have to jump in and help me. I think they do like modular wood track. But outside of that, there are some expensive options for wood routed tracks, but a modular one is there's not many options out there. If somebody knows of any, I would love to take a look at them. But I've done a ton of track research, and there's just not a lot out there. There were some things that were promising that they don't exist anymore. They quit making them, probably because no one bought them. And it could have been a cost issue, I guess. So let's see. What else do we have? Yep. I wonder how flexible it is and if the joints stay together if flexed. Ted, that's a good question. Their table looked pretty flat. I'm guessing that your table is going to need to be flat. Just so that those pieces, they kind of fit together like a puzzle pieces so that they lock together. And so I'm guessing that you're probably not going to be able to do overpasses, bridges, things like that. I think that could be the challenge, keeping those pieces together. Yeah, it's not a new concept, but the price really could be a game changer. The thing there is no way you will hand route a track as good as his CNC laser. Jeff, you're right. Like you're talking about an accuracy from the CNC machine. I have a good friend of mine that has a full-size commercial CNC machine. And so I've been talking to him about wanting to create a CNC track, and he's all in. I just have to be able to design it, and I don't know what I need to design that in, what program. I think I could probably do it in Illustrator, possibly, and then he could create cut lines from that. So I'm really working up a concept. that might be the first wood track that I build. It might be a project that I work with Chad on, and use his CNC machine, but we'll see. I want an MR Trax modular track from Australia. Eric, they look really nice. They look a lot. They remind me of some of these the Viper tracks, the HO tracks. Those are fantastic. Yeah, John. Yeah, you have to make some adjustments, but I think it's a fun change. True, but other places are waiting list to build them. Yeah, I get that. I've finally able to get my count back. Oh, your account back? Were you locked out of YouTube? Welcome back. Good to have you. I just want enough space to expand the track I've got. Michael, I agree. I would like to be able to have a little more width. I'm kind of narrow, so we have room to get around the track. So, but I actually could lengthen it. But the problem with getting the track too long is visually, it's hard to see the cars. So, yeah. Well, welcome back, man. Glad you got your account back. We finished our 3-lane wood track a few months ago. I think I still have MDF dust in my nose. Vin, you sent me pictures of that. That track looks great, though. You guys did a great job. Slotfire has been producing beautiful fly wood tracks, but again, price. Yeah, I get why. I mean, a wood track is not an easy thing to build. It's there's a lot of detail that goes into it, and woodworking is a lot of hours. There's a lot of wood, and wood is not cheap right now. So I get the expense of a wood routed track, and I don't want to complain about that. But having a modular wood routed track that's reasonably priced is a pretty cool option, and I think that it could be a game changer. Yeah. Modular wood tracks with modular sections to adjust it and change it up. Elevation of turns, hairpin turns, straightaways is something that would help to be able to change it up and wouldn't get old. Our friend Jamie has a track that comes in. It's a wood routed track that comes in sections that he can change the order of the sections, and it's pretty cool. I'm not raced on it yet, but it looks like somebody handmade it, but the sections you can move around, which is pretty cool. Yeah, I could see if it was like a DIY kit that could be pretty reasonably priced. It would just be the track. You would have to put the braid on or copper tape yourself. Yeah. I think what you'd have to tell him is whether you want the cut for the braid, because if you're going to go with copper tape, then you would not have him route the part for the braid. Might be nice to have a kit with jigs for routing the track, braid, wire, etc. Mad P, that's actually a good idea. I've thought about that. Because most people end up making their own jig. It's not complicated once you figure out what you want your lane spacing to be, but it might be nice to be able to create a jig that's adjustable. And I can see where Slot Car Corner in their track building section would carry a tool like that. It might be pretty good. George did not spend any money at there. All our local tracks have been closed for years. Everything we race on is members' homes, wood tracks, mostly 4 lanes. Yeah, it'd be fun to have a 3 or 4 lane track. There was a King track that sold last week that was in Columbus, Ohio for $1,200, and I've seen it set up and watched cars go around it, and it was an old track, but it was still in great shape. And so for $1,200, somebody got a good track for $1,200. And I hope that it gets set up, and I hope that it was local, So maybe we'll get a chance to Dusty and Marty are sandbagging to make me look like I can drive. Daryl, that is not true. Not true at all. George, how to section connect? Is there a clip of some kind? Michael, to me, it looked like it was a puzzle piece type of deal where the pieces lock in. A 10 pinion will give them a bit more top end and still keep them just as drivable. Yeah, John, I think it would be whatever you decide to do. I think it's just be fun to keep the close racing is so much fun that's what I would like to see maintained. So, whether it's 9-tooth or 10-tooth, I would say going up to a 10 tooth or maybe even 11-tooth on this layout would really help them in the straight. But 11-tooth might lose some in the S turns, and they get through the S's really well. So I enjoy driving cars with less performance as they require more skill and the racing is more interesting. Yes, Samuel. I guess what I would say with that is cars with less performance, like fly cars, you can tune them and make them get around the track pretty well. And as long as you race them with other fly cars, they're a blast. Just like the Group 2 cars from Revo Slot. If you're running them against a regular Revo Slot, they're not going to be able to keep up. But if you're running against other Group 2 cars, they're all pretty equally matched. And I think that's what makes racing fun, especially like on this layout with the 4 lanes. If you got a bunch of cars all together on the track, it's a blast. Let's see. I sent Bruce Slot R's video so he can do it at Cincy Slots. Oh, Daryl. Well, here's the thing, Daryl. I would offer if Bruce, I would rewire that a pit lane and a chicane for him. So all he has to do is plug and play. Not that he can't do it, but I would offer to do that for him if he would want to do that. You should only ever consider a routed track after 5 years of racing in order to know what you really want with no regrets. Yeah, I don't know that I know exactly what kind of wood routed track that I would want right now. That's a fair statement. I have so many choices. This last 2-lane layout that we had, I love that layout. I could see that in a 3 or 4 lane wood routed, similar to that layout, and I would be very happy. So I think I have some ideas of what now. I've changed my layout enough to know I think I could probably get pretty close to what I would be happy with. But yeah. MDF is more flexible than a lot of people think, especially half-inch MDF, which is what it's usually made out of. The best hand-routed track is one built by Butch. Greg, that is no lie. Now, I have not been on others. I know that there are some other great wood track builders out there, but Butch, his track is so nice. He said it's part crude carpentry and part fine cabinet making, which I think was great. Hey, Danny, welcome. Dave Patterson, I asked Kevin about a figure 8, and he told me it was not possible. Yeah, I kind of figured like the crossover would be tough. So I would say your options are going to be all flat tracks that are, you might be able to get some wiggles and some things like that, but it's not going to be big changes. Yeah, Greg, we love Butch's track. That's a great layout. Mad P, you will want vector images for CNC. So vector images would be using InDesign. No, Illustrator. So I could do the layout in Illustrator and then convert those to cut lines in whatever software he uses. So I think, Mad P, you're right. Yep. Yeah, MDF is bendable, especially half-inch MDF. 3/4 inch doesn't bend near as much. My track is giant compared to your space. Yeah, this is about 25 feet long, 26 feet long, because I kind of overhang about a foot on each end, and about 8 feet wide. Track expansion is something I don't enjoy until it's over. Tim, have you finished your expansion? I saw where you were expanding, and a lot of Bondo. So the Bondo was so you could like keep the lanes smooth, right? So the cost over here to get a track CNC is not expensive. It's just finding a card design or understanding how to use CAD is the limitations over here. And for me, I agree. I don't like getting. I've dabbled with a CAD program, but to create a slot car track and get lane spacing and, yeah, I'm not sure that I could create that. So, yeah, I agree. The other thing, Vin, is if you like, I get a little bit of temperature change, not a whole lot, but a little bit of temperature change and humidity change in the basement. And I don't think copper tape would handle that, not like braid would. Let's see. Thomas Sanders. There's a company in Europe that makes a modular wood track. I saw it on YouTube, but can't remember how many lanes. There's a company that makes, it's like part plastic, part wood, and George, I just got your message. Yeah, hang on. We could do that. Although I'm not sure how much longer we'll be talking about that, but yeah. Sorry, I wish I would have seen that message earlier. I must have missed it in the chat. We will see. I have some ideas, not just tracks, but things for slot cars in general. Yeah, me too. I have a head full of ideas. I'm just not sure how to make some of them happen. I don't have some of the tools that I would need. Strombecker made a wood DIY kit back in the 60s. Found one and bought it a few months back. That's cool. Let's see. That is really interesting. Keeping the car standard with only limited tuning makes the race results come down to driver ability rather than racers spending big bucks to get an advantage. Yeah, Mark, like you hate to get into a wallet race. I think that's the beauty of some of these, the like plastic cars, the hard bodies, whatever you want to call them, the 1/32 scale cars, because like if you throw the wallet at a car, like you top out, I don't know, maybe $100, $120. I mean, I'm thinking about how much I have in this car and total with the purchase of the car and all the things that I needed for the car. I'm still probably not quite $100, and it's making this car run pretty good. It gets around the track pretty good. This has been a fun project. I don't know if anybody else has built one of these. This is the CG Slots 3D printed chassis, Scalextrics CUDA. I mean, I absolutely love the stance. Love the stance. And it gets around the track pretty good. It's fairly quick. So, it was a good upgrade. And so, I think about, that made that car really good. I mean, a new motor for a car is like $12, between $8 and $14. The slotted ones are a little more expensive. I think the NSRs are $12 or $14. It's not tons of money. So let's see. Keeps the competition close and puts it in the driver's hands. Yep, I agree. That's what's fun. 124 scale cars really tear up copper tape fairly quickly. I don't have any experience with copper tape. So let's see. I want to try different materials, not just MDF. Yeah. My first track was copper tape, yes. Constant repairs and adhesion issues, especially in basements where it tends to be humid. Yeah, gotcha. Oxidation. The heavier the car, the worse it gets. Speed is another factor. What else do we have? So a couple weeks ago, I got my again, EST for CAM. CNC takes CAD and CAM to work unless you get a software that has both Fusion 360. Thanks, Danny. T&D, you got it, but you're able to run cars? Oh, Bondo forgives the routing sins. Gotcha. Yes, you can, Marty. Just punching in numbers. CAD programming is not rocket science. Gotcha, Jeff. So I got my ceramic jig, and I received from Dave Kennedy one of the chassis kits. And fellas, I did my first scratch build chassis. Now, there's a lot of solder on this. And I think it has to do with the solder that I have is pretty thick. And so I now have this solder, and I think that it will be cleaner. I will use that instead of this. So my next try, I need to get some of the what did George call it? The solder braid that picks up the solder that, and clean some of the solder off. But it does get around the track. I did sort of set it up. I true the tires. I'm right at 1/8 of an inch off the track with the chassis, just like the rules state. And then the body that I have that I haven't mounted yet, but I'm going to, is the 68 Camaro. It's a snap tight body. And what I'm building is, when Dusty and I were kids, there was a guy that had an auto dealer, a little small time used car auto. It was called Dyke's Auto Sales, and his name was Jake Dyke, and he was a local race car guy, and he drove like the old Champ cars first, and then he transitioned into the street stocks, or what ended up being late models, but it's the showdown cars that the HRW Showdown is building. And so I am building a Jake Dyke car, just like what I remember as a kid, to submit to the proxy. And it's coming together. I will guarantee you that it will not be the fastest car. But it will look the part, and it will be a good tribute car to a guy that Jake really means a lot to my brother Dusty and I. He was sort of a mentor to us as kids. We used to go and just hang out at his shop. We were probably a pain in the butt, but he would make us sweep the floors, and he would make us roll the wheels and tires around the shop, and tighten the lug nuts on the car. And he just had us do little odd jobs and let us climb all over the car and inside and out. And he was just very kind to us. And so I'm excited about building this car as a tribute to his cars. He's still with us. He's 83 years old, I think. And so after I get it done, I'll get some pictures of it and send out to him. So I'm excited about doing that. It means a lot. But George, my plan is to get this thing done and send it to you first, so you can kind of do a once-over, because I told Dave Kennedy, and Shotgun Dave said that I should send it to you. But then when you send it back to me, I'll send it on to the proxy. But it would be fun for you to test it on your track and see what it does, and then fix any of my sins that you see that needs to be fixed, so I don't embarrass myself in front of Harry with my first build. I'm behind on the chat, guys. I have no idea where we're at. Oh, thanks, John. Yeah, hit the like button if you guys. Alexander, welcome from Brazil. Glad to have you. Let's see. The old Sizzlers track of the 70s. You could make some killer hill sections. You did great with the first 3DP. Thanks, John. I feel like this is a decent car. I think it'll compete. It's not going to be the fastest car out there, but it's pretty easy to drive now. It's a touch slower, but it's easy to drive. I've played with the gearing a little bit, and I think that I've got it where I think it needs to be, but I'll have to test it on the Cincy Slots track. So spray paint hides a lot. Thanks, Tad. So maybe I shouldn't worry about all that solder. I just paint it. Forget about it. Cleaning wick. Thanks, George. Thin solder is best. Yeah, I think I'm in good shape. Dusty had picked up this solder, and it's 63-37 is the ratio. So it's pretty much 60-40. And it's a thin, and it was working really well. The other thing I'm dealing with is I got this heavy duty soldering iron, which is great, but the chisel tip is gigantic. Wow. So put $4.99 at Menards. I couldn't go wrong. It definitely gets hot enough to make it really easy to solder. I mean, I'd put the flux on, lay the solder to it, the iron to it, let it heat up, hit it with the solder, and it would just flow like crazy. And so I feel like the flow is good. So now where I'm at is I've built this little jig like George told me to in his video, and so we'll see if we've got the car set up to put that body on it. And I'm close. I need to do a little bit of shaving on the fenders, but I'm close. I'm close. So, and I was going for a certain look, the way Jake's car is, in the picture that I have. So, it's definitely looking the part. I feel like the nose needs to come down just a hair. So I'll probably adjust that a little bit. But I feel pretty good about my first build. It's not fast, but it gets around the track for the most part. So that's exciting. I'm already full of ideas for other chassis. So if anybody has a particular chassis that they like to build when they do scratch building, I'm up to hear about them, because I'm curious about other types of chassis. John Albright sent me this chassis. This guy did is incredible. It's like a 4-wheel drive, beautiful jail door style chassis. That was incredible. You can take excess solder off with regular braids too. Gotcha. Desoldering braid, and don't get sucked in by the desoldering sucker tools. They work best for circuit boards. Got it. Michael, thanks. Yeah, I don't know do I have a picture? I don't know if I can show you a picture. Let me bring it up here. Give me just 1 second, and I'll show you what I'm building. I go to Facebook. I can go to here we go. My Aunt Jenny is the one who sent me the picture originally. Find the picture. There it is. All right. So I should be able to go to web. Oops. There we go. So that's what I'm going for. So this car, when I'm done, is going to be modeled after that. So the only thing is with this model, it's got the spoiler, and that car didn't have a spoiler. I got to figure out the crude bumper. It looks like I need to paint the wheels white. At one time, he did have silver wheels. They weren't painted white, so I could leave them silver like they are now and be fine with that. But the 92 was hand painted on there, and then you can't see it in this picture because it's just an old picture. But on the rear fenders, the rear quarter panels, it says Dyke Auto Sales, Waverly, Ohio, and then on the front fender, on both sides, on the nose, down between the bumper and the tire, it says Jenny Lou, and that's my aunt. And he always put her name on the front fender, so I will have to follow suit. So yeah. So I'm going back and looking at somebody asked me to, Anthony, hey, Marty, do you mind showing me the bottom of your chassis on your car you built, I'm guessing. So here you go, Anthony. This is the Home Racing World Showdown chassis kit that Dave Kennedy sent me to build. So Dave, there you go. I built it. Fun kit. If you have not built a car ever, it is a fantastic way to jump into scratch building because you get everything that you need. And then it kind of gives you a baseline of like what you need if you're going to build other chassis. So there's the bottom. Hopefully you can see it. And I'm running the stock gearing. It's a 9-tooth pinion and a 27-tooth inline gear. The tires are pretty big because it's supposed to be a dirt modified sportsman class car. And so the picture I just showed you, it's like the perfect car for that class, the perfect chassis for that. But it's a pretty basic chassis. So there you go. And then I think the rule says that you can't be wider than 2.5. And man, I'm right there, 2.554. So I may have to go a touch narrower because it's got to be under, I think, 2.5. Maybe it was 2 5/8. If that's the case, then I think I'm right there. So I'm in good shape. So George would know. So Anthony, I hope that showed you what you needed to see. Yeah, thanks, Jeff. Let's see here. Soldering braid help a lot by removing excess solder. I use it a lot to remove solder from the PC pads. Gotcha. Yeah, I just need to pick up some soldering braid. So I'll grab some. I think I can get some at Harbor Freight. I think they have a kit that comes with the cleaning, which I definitely need. Don't forget about the coffee. That's right. I sent out some coffee last week to a couple winners. I don't know if they've made it there yet or not. They usually roast on Tuesdays and send that stuff out, so it's possible that it didn't go out until today. A 1/4-inch chisel tip is all you need with a quality iron. So I'm going to order. They make smaller chisel tips that fit this iron. So I just need to order them off of Amazon. I can't get one. But I like the heat of the iron. The chisel tip is just a bit big, which is why my soldering's a little messy. I'm right behind you. I've done some body work. Nice, Gary. Gary, your builds look great, man. You did an awesome job. Yeah, DeFingers, thanks. I'm excited about getting it painted up. Probably this weekend, I'll get a chance to get some paint on it and start working on it. And I'm going to since the numbers were hand painted, everything was hand painted on the car. I'm going to attempt to hand paint the numbers. I'm using some acrylic markers that I have, and I think that they will look the part and match what the actual car looks like. So yeah, nothing too fancy. Yeah, Dusty. Roastcoffee.com. Use the code 2lines, and you get a discount, 25% off your first purchase, and then 20% off subscriptions. And there's a handful of guys out there that's got coffee subscriptions. We really appreciate it. So I thank you, and I know that that Roast Coffee thanks you as well. So, yeah, I appreciate you, Trent. Thanks for sponsoring my channel. There we go. Scratch building is fun. I agree. It was a blast. And it didn't take me too long. I think I've got an hour and a half maybe in this, and then another half an hour getting the gears on, getting it set up, getting the braids on, and making it track worthy and getting some laps around on the track. So a couple hours, you can build a rolling chassis that gets around the track in 2 hours pretty easy. I'm sure George and Shotgun Dave and Harry and those guys that do it all the time, they can probably put a chassis together in 20 minutes and be flying around the track. Yeah, DeFingers. I have the Maverick body on its way. So I don't know how good that Maverick body is going to be. It's a resin printed. So I think it's going to take me a lot of work to get it prepped, ready for paint, but we'll see. We'll find out when it gets in. Looks like the body is high in that picture. It might be, George. I'm trying to live with your 1/8 inch. So I'll probably maybe shave the body down a little bit to get that. I may have shaved too much around the wheel wells, but if you looked at the picture, there was a lot of room around it, so I was really trying to make it look like that. So, but I got the stuff to do to mount the body, and so that's probably something I'll work on this weekend as well. And get the body mounted so that I can start messing with that, and then I'll start finishing it. The spoiler is molded into the body, and so there might be enough plastic in there for me to grind it down. But it's a detail I can live with. I mean, eventually he did put a spoiler on it, but it was a big like sportsman type of spoiler, just to try to get some more downforce. Alexander, thanks for joining. Good night, man. Yeah, I could cut the spoiler off. I just don't know how much that would. Or hog the wheels out more. Well, so George, yeah, I did your trick. I've got the little 1/8 inch balsa. So I've got the chassis sitting on the jig, like you said to make. And so it's even with that. So the bottom of the body is resting on the 1/8 inch balsa. So it would be great to get the body down a little bit, but to get that body a little lower, I would have to shave the bottom of the body down. So I don't know. We'll see what it needs. You can see it. It was hogged out in the picture. Yeah. Good night, Tim. Thanks for joining, man. Appreciate you. Air 51, Harry has a chassis clearance rule, but not a body height rule. Oh, that's a good question. So my chassis is 1/8. What you're saying is I can get the body down a little lower. Yeah, I think that if I hogged out the body a little bit more, I can get the body down lower, which would, I think, look better. Gotcha. Yeah, I'll mess with that. And now it begins. Yes. Okay, so that yes was for what John Albright said. The chassis came out great, Marty. Thank you for showing it to me. Yeah, Anthony, no problem. Anthony, I recommend that kit if you're wanting to jump in. I mean, you do have to have some tools. You have to have a soldering iron. You have to have solder. You have to have. I picked this up, the Lucky Bob's Acid Flux body. I got that from Slot Car Corner. Slot Car Corner has all the things that you need. I got the pins and the ceramic jig. You really need to have the jig. It really helps keep things straight and square. I mean, that's the biggest thing, is to have the front tires square with the rear tires, so that it tracks good. I don't know that. I think I'm close. Yeah, I think I'm square. Because it tracks pretty straight on the track. I'll be able to see that a little better once I get the body on. So, Mayflower Maize Yellow in the GM color for that car. Mayfair Maize Yellow. Jeff G, I believe you're right, because what Jake did was he did auto body work. And he was a big GM guy. I'm sure that color is probably what he went with. He painted almost all of his cars that yellow with red 92. Was kind of his thing. And yeah, it's a paler yellow, definitely not as bright as the color that the kit came, the body came. How does the coffee site have all of my information, and I have not purchased anything from you? Moondoggy. They use Square, and if you've purchased anything using Square, that's where it gets your information. So it's not Roast that has your information. It's who they process their credit card orders on the website through. And I believe it's Square, or maybe it's I forget what the other one is. But yeah, that's Moondoggy. That's how they have your information. John, as long as it looks like a dirt track car, it will work. The chassis height is one rule that is strongly enforced. Yeah, I watched that video and read the rules, and the chassis 1/8 of an inch off the track, and that's where I'm at. But yeah, I would really like for that body to get down a little lower. Yeah, it definitely needs to get down lower. Not much, probably about an eighth of an inch, maybe 16th. Yeah, Moondoggy has not won coffee. Smells good. Yeah, the iron you have is for stained glass work. Yeah, that's probably why it was $4.99 at Menards, Jeff. Yeah, it melts the solder pretty good. Yeah, I think that, eventually I'll pick up a digital soldering iron. I just couldn't beat the $4.99, guys. I am frugal. My brother and I both are. So Maverick will be novel. Yeah, I agree. My computer will populate name, address lines when I order from sites. Yeah. Yeah, but I think that it's because you've purchased something from another site that uses the same processor. It would be my guess, because it happens to me a lot. How did you anchor your motor, Marty? Did you solder it in, or is it something in the jig? Anthony, the kit comes with a motor bracket. Let me see if you can see it. There's a motor bracket, and so it's screwed to the motor bracket, and that is just a great. And so you don't have to build your own, and that really helps. I don't know. It really helps keep the kit pretty easy for your first build. I would like to build a Sidewinder. I'm probably going to have to make my own motor mount for that. But for the inline stuff, that motor bracket just saves so much time, and they're not that expensive. Yeah, they're pretty relatively cheap. Oh, Anthony, hope that answered your question. He started with the motor bracket. Yeah, thanks, Dusty. Gary, no, I'm using a 60/40 tin. What is it? Yeah, a 40/60 solder. That's what I'm using, not liquid. Let's see. John, no, but George told me that I'm supposed to, with a vinegar and baking soda solution. So yeah, I need to take everything off of it and clean the chassis. I just haven't had a chance to do that, which means it's probably corroding a little bit, which you can see it's starting to. So I will probably do that tonight. What time is it? 10:30. Shoo. Amazon has a cheap one. Oh, soldering iron. Yeah. You just ordered some coffee. Moondoggy, what coffee did you order? The Brazil is my favorite. The Guatemalan is good too. I really like it. The Home is really good. You can see the bracket now. Yeah, if you go to Slot Car Corner and look up the Home Racing World kit, you can see all the pieces that come with it. It's just a great kit. Slot Car Corner sells a Sidewinder motor bracket. Good to know. Thanks, George. I appreciate that. Tad, we'll see you, man. Thanks, guys. Appreciate that. Sidewinder motor bracket. There we go. Yeah, Thomas, it's the 132nd kit. You're right. So, good, Anthony. Totally recommend it. So George has been trying to talk me into this for such a long time, and I've been dragging my feet because it was really like the last thing I needed to do was to jump down another rabbit hole, right? But then Lindsay sent me the body kit for the Lotus 2.3, and I needed to build a chassis for that. And then Dave Kennedy sent me the chassis kit, the Slot Car Corner 132nd chassis kit. And I'm like, well, I might as well build something. And so I built that, and I ordered the body. And then Shotgun Dave sent me a bug body. And so that car is going to get built here before too long. So I've got some projects in front of me. This was the first project I needed to get done. So that one is pretty much done. This one is next. So I have a backup. And we're going to try to make a Mustang run halfway decent. I still need to finish this car. And I keep giving Greg a hard time. I should just send it to Greg and have him build it for me, because the setup on this chassis is wild. So I've got some learning to do, I think. I've got it going around the track halfway decent, but I haven't really completely built the car. So I really need to finish building this car out. So I have plenty of projects. I really don't need to jump into another scratch building project, but it was so stinking fun. I really enjoyed it. Comet Cleanser works to clean the chassis. Thank you very much, Patricia. That's good to know. I do have Comet, so I think that will probably be easier than vinegar and baking soda. We'll see you, Clint. Thanks, man. Baking soda and a toothbrush is great. Alcohol works well too. Okay, that's easy. That is easy. A whole nother bottle upstairs. So the home roast is good. Yeah, it is. It's really good. I don't know, guys. It's what else do I want to talk about? Oh, one more thing. So Patrick from Fast Laps sent me a package, and it's the special USB cable to plug into the CU. So this week I am going to get a chance to really dive into that software and do some testing, running some digital cars. And so to do that, I really don't want to run a Carrera car. I'm going to chip one of my cars, maybe the Group 2 car, the Revo slot, or maybe just one of my Revo slots, just because they already have the hole drill that's pretty easy, and they're not like hyper fast getting in and out of the pit. So that's the plan. I'm going to finish the digital wiring so that I can run 4 lanes digital and get that working. I'm going to do some testing with Patrick's cable. Thank you, Patrick. That was awesome of you to do that. And I've got a couple of things on Facebook Marketplace that I'm selling. If I've got some old sound gear, and if those sell, then I'll be able to order the TrackMate hardware, and then so we'll be able to do analog and digital using Fast Laps and really give Patrick a good beta test. He asked me to test this software. I take that serious. I had a software company for a little while, for about 12 years, and it was one of my favorite things I've ever done in my entire life. Was test and retest and beta test that software, and I really love what Patrick's put together. Like I said last week, we had a call on last Friday, and he walked me through step by step through the whole software, and I really want to give it a good test. I really think it has tons of potential. Super excited about it, but I want to be able to test both digital and analog. So I need to track down a 4-lane TrackMate timing system with the USB box and everything, and get the track both analog and digital. So that's one of my projects this week as well, is to finish the digital wiring so I can do a true 4-lane digital test of this stuff. So pretty excited about that. So Patrick, thank you. You're the man. Didn't need to do that, but I will make sure that you get lots of great feedback for your app, because this channel is friends with other software, with Mark. He tunes in frequently, and we love what he's doing with Smart Race on the digital side. But it's always good to have options, especially guys who have Windows machines and aren't Apple guys, that don't have an iPad laying around or extra iPhones. So it's always good to have options, and so we're excited about that. So I really want to give it a good test. Yeah, the box that the kit comes in takes you straight to the instructions. But I'll be honest with you, I did not go to those instructions. I went to George's video that he posted a couple weeks ago, and step by step followed that video and built the chassis. Easy peasy. The kit doesn't come with instructions. George's videos, and I watched Shotgun Dave's live stream as well, where he built the chassis. So between those two videos, I did not have any problems building it. But I did scan the code and go out to the instructions, and those are great as well. Thanks, Patrick. Good to know you're here, man. I'll probably fire things up. I've got to move my laptop over to where the CU is, so I can plug in. And once I do that, I'll probably fire that up tonight and run some digital laps. The problem is until I finish the digital wiring, the pit lane is not included on the track that has digital on it. So I've got some wiring I need to do to finish that, but it'll probably take me about an hour. Yeah, that's where it goes to your video. Yep. Let's see. Magnetic racing phone gain tree is pretty interesting for analog lap timing. So Greg, yes. So a plug for the magnetic guys. I know that it's late there; they're not on, but Doug will tune in sometimes when I start at 8:00. They reached out to me on Monday. Actually, it was over the weekend. Doug said, "Hey Marty, you need some lighting on your track," and so Magnetic Racing is sending me 2 of the light towers to put on the track. And so Ian sent me an email on Monday and said, "Hey, Doug said he's sending you these. What's your address?" I sent that out to them. So sometime next week, I'm guessing a couple of those light towers will show up, and I am super excited. You guys know me. I don't do a ton of scenery, but I do like track signage. I love track signage. I think it looks great, and it still doesn't get in the way of marshaling, because we do race on this track, and it's not that you can't with scenery, but sometimes the scenery can get away in the way of marshaling. But there are some things that I want to add to the table, and light towers were one of them. And so those guys are sending me a couple light towers. I can't wait to do a video on them, get them set up, make them part of I've got a couple places where the lighting's halfway decent that I could take pictures of my cars for all my YouTube thumbnails. And so those lights will be integrated into that, and I can't wait. They're going to look good. And so Doug and Ian, shout out to those guys at Magnetic Racing. It's amazing. I've got great relationship with Kevin. at Racetrack Scenics, and now I'm getting to know Doug and Ian. Their videos are great. Go follow their channel. So I'm super excited about that. So I've got a lot going on for the channel, a lot of things that I'm working on here. So it's pretty exciting. But the one thing I'm super excited about is to do some testing with Fast Laps and really kind of run it through the ringer, so that Patrick gets some great feedback, because that's what's important. That's how he can make that software better. And I know that a handful of you guys reached out to him and signed up for the beta when he's ready to send that out. And so, yeah, the more people he can have test it, by the time he releases it, it will be, in really good shape. So it'll be great to give you good feedback. Let's see, but yeah, Clearwater, the phone gantry is really pretty cool for people just using the lap counting. And I would say that it would work well with Smart Race, setting the phone there. The nice thing about being on the gantry is it's very, pretty stable. So hopefully you won't get very many false lap counts. That's what I'm running into right now with when I reach across the bridge. If you shake the bridge a little bit here, you'll get a false lap. So I need to probably turn down the sensitivity a little bit in zone trigger. Shane is building some at Used Garage. Yeah, that's cool. The Virginia International Raceway starter station works. Also really good for the analog timing. That's cool. Just use your imagination and stick parts together. Works for me. There you go. Let's see. Hey, Jason. Jason, here's a good view of the bottom of that. I sent you the picture with the body off earlier. Yeah, it's pretty narrow. You don't have a lot of room for the wheels and tires. I was wanting to put these staff wheels on that car, and they're going to have to go on another car. I'm thinking my VW Bug build, because of the offset. I don't know if you can see the offset there again. There was just not enough room. So yeah, but glad I could help. If you need anything else on that, Jason, let me know. Going to call it. Good night, Curvy. Yeah, Curvy, I think I'm going to call it as well. It's 10:45. I was super late tonight. I am so sorry, guys, but I'm glad that we've had 530 comments, 47 likes. I don't know how many we have watching. And yep, we'll see you, Kirby. I don't know. We have 46 people watching, 47 likes. Can't beat that. So, yep. So I think I'm going to call it 2, guys. I've got another big day at this conference tomorrow, so I got to head to Columbus. So I got to get up early. Yeah, Anthony, thanks, man. So I really appreciate you guys. It's been great hanging out. Again, sorry I'm late. Next week won't be late. Yeah, good stuff. I'll have an update on Fast Laps. I'll have an update on the Scratch build. I'll have an update on, oh gosh, what else? Got a couple of, there's my wish list for cars right now is crazy. I don't know if anybody else is having that same problem. One of my videos I've got coming up. One more thing. Dang, gosh. All right. I know I'm losing some guys, but a buddy of mine has an apparel company here in Chillicothe, and I think I mentioned it. He has designed a T-shirt, a Two Lines T-shirt, that is awesome, and I'm super excited about it. Not quite ready to unveil. We're making some changes to it, but I'm gonna, not that I'm into selling a bunch of stuff, But I've had a bunch of people reach out and say, man, it would be great to have a T-shirt. Raul did some T-shirts for us. It's great. He's in Canada, and I know that sometimes that's tough for some people. So Chad really wants to do a shirt for me, and so I'm probably going to do a limited run of some two-line shirts, and they're not just going to be the logo. It's just a cool design. I can't wait to. Very vintage looking. It's a sweet shirt from a material standpoint. I love the T-shirt. And so hopefully maybe next week I'll be able to unveil that, and then maybe I'll take some pre-orders if anybody's interested. Now, nobody might be interested in a T-shirt, and that's fine. But I'm going to probably do a limited run. So if you would be interested in a T-shirt, I'll post it out there when it's ready, and you'll have the opportunity to maybe order one, and I don't know, we'll do something cool with any of the proceeds. So we'll come up with something. So that's cool. I meant to say that earlier. So, but guys, I really appreciate you jumping in here. I really appreciate you being a part of this community. Thanks for your grace tonight for me being so late and almost an hour and a half late. Ugh, I'm so sorry. But anyway, guys, I hope you go have fun racing.